My husband's, 34M, positive response to my accidental pregnancy, 33F, is making me want to run. Advice. I bitterly told my husband as soon as I found out. It was an accident and we were not planning on kids, so I expected a different reaction. But he took it extremely positively. Like a celebration. I don't love my husband anymore, I don't find him attractive anymore. I've tried my best to be true to my vows. But now confronted with the possibility of my next 20 years being tied to him, in a situation I never wanted, I feel an enormous urge to run. He hasn't misstepped as a partner, but he isn't the same person I married. Sex is a chore. I have also changed, I'm not a social person, I don't enjoy the company of others. Even his. I miss living alone, going days without talking to anyone, my own bed. My own house, meals, time. The life he promised me was a life that I was convinced would be better than the company of myself. But I was wrong. And I want to take it all back. I have told him how I feel, but he just tells me that he can't help having grown into a different person. Which I agree, divorce has never come up in conversation.
Be honest him with and yourself. Don't waste his years nor yours, you can allow him to be happy while you do you, but don't waste either of yours time. Well, tell him you don't want the baby and you want a divorce. That is your responsibility to enact. Why tell him how you feel but completely negate that you want a divorce? No offense, but you sound super depressed, maybe you need to speak to an actual therapist about your feelings. Don't have the baby and get a divorce. Let the man be with someone who will love him. Then you can be in solitude. Outside of the pregnancy, are you sure you don't have depression? Your description of withdrawing into / isolating yourself over a period of years sounds troubling. Bringing a baby into a situation like yours is not a good idea. I don't know why you're having sex with a man you don't even like. Divorce seems the only option for you, yet it never comes up. You've got to figure out what you really want. Let him find someone else instead of wasting his time. I'm confused as to why you even had sex with him since you don't love or like him. You should have divorced him years ago so you can live a life in solitude instead of making him and yourself miserable. Just get an abortion and then a divorce. What advice are you looking for here? It seems you already know what to do. You don't love your husband and you want to remain child-free. The next steps are hard but obvious. Then leave. Either have an abortion, and if that is not possible, give him the option to keep the child and give him full parental rights. At the end of day you can just abort and leave him. It's not really that hard to leave someone you don't even love. Leave him so he can find someone else. He deserves better than you. I'm probably going to be downvoted for this comment, but I don't care. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks this. Geez, imagine your husband being positive and supportive of your unplanned pregnancy, showing his dedication to your marriage. Yuck, am I right OP?/S. Bro, this post makes me sick to my stomach. I'm not saying you should stay with someone you don't love, but it sounds like you never wanted to marry him in the first place. The life he promised me was a life that I was convinced would be better than the company of myself. Like, what? I totally understand the appeal of solitude, I really do. I'm a very solitary person who needs that time for myself. However, I made it clear to my wife what I need so that I could be the husband/father that my family deserves. You should have said no in the first place and saved this guy a lot of pain and heartbreak. BRB, I gotta go hug my wife and newborn, real quick. While I think that you should pursue a relationship that doesn't feel like a chore, you may want to consider counseling for the lack of interest in social interactions if it was a sudden change of personality. I'm not particularly social, but my friends who went from social to non-social were struggling with depression and didn't even realize it at first. You sound extremely depressed, I'm sorry you feel like you want to be alone. Coming from a similar place, maybe it's time to speak to a doctor. I honestly feel bad for you, husband. I think you'll be better off alone/without him. You know what you have to do. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. You're annoyed because you're done with the relationship. I'm sure his breathing or even his eating bugs you. Maybe you would have the same reaction if he wasn't excited. Find the strength to leave. He deserves for someone to love him properly. For the sake of everyone in this situation, get an abortion, if you are sure you don't want the baby, and divorce this man. You are not happy, he is not going to be happy either. For the love of all that is love and light, do not have that baby. Do not subject a human being to a life of unwanted existence. It's torture. It's literally mental torture. Please don't have that baby. Please. This poor man. It's not even that you don't want a child, that's 100% fine. It's how you viscerally hate him for being excited and attempting to be supportive. Why did you get married if the thought of being tied to him for the next 20 years is so horrible? Being upset by the idea of him wanting this pregnancy to continue is understandable, especially if he won't back down after prolonged discussion or respect your autonomy, but this is on another level. Honestly, I think you need to be brutally honest. Tell him you don't want to have a child, get an abortion, and plan to separate. You don't want to be married to him, so let him find someone that wants to be married to him and you can spend time in solitude. It seems pretty clear what you want, I'm just not sure why you haven't carried through and instead slept with him. Did you become less social as a result of the relationship changing? Were there other aspects of your habits that also changed, maybe wanting to go out less, like to restaurants, hygiene changes, or appearance changes, like stopping makeup or hairstyling? I'm genuinely curious as I've seen others' habits change as the relationships they are in fail. Solitude? You sound like me 5 years back. Are you exhausted from the chaos of being in a relationship? Are you someone who needs no company and usually an introvert? Do you not like gatherings and noise? Do you prefer no one bothers or asks you anything? Perhaps you are going through some major emotional turmoil. Have you tried therapy or perhaps a little isolation in some hills at a cabin? Try that. Solitude brings balance in mind. Good luck.